to another business communications lesson with Professor Cokkinos.
Business reports.
Hey everybody, Professor Cokkinos here. So we're going to talk about reports for this module. And in business, there are lots of things to report. You might be conveying information, answering questions, trying to solve some kind of problem, looking back at financial data. And then you might be presenting these reports in an informal email, in a 100-page document, in a Google Meet to a live audience with data and infographics. Informational reports present data without analysis or recommendations. If you are going to do an analytical report, this is where you're going to give some analysis and also present some kind of conclusions. There are feasibility reports which provide recommendations. Maybe we need to expand our sales force, hire new people. We might even have a justification report here saying we need to hire these people or we need to purchase new equipment in order to fulfill the company's needs. Like any communication, you want to use your strategy, you want to think about your target audience, you want to know what your goal is, and you want to know what the call to action is, what you want your reader to do after the report. You could use an indirect strategy where you state your recommendations at the end of the report, or you can use a more direct approach where you start off and front load your recommendation right off the top and then support it. Another thing to consider is your tone. So an informal writing style may be something for a smaller audience. The project doesn't have as much scope or weight. The writing style is more conversational. If you have a bigger project that has a longer report that's going to reach more people and have more impact, you may then use a formal writing style, which would have a sense of objectivity, authority, impartiality, and be just taken more seriously. So another consideration is where and how you're going to deliver your report. Is it going to be an informal email? Is it going to be a letter? Is it going to be a slide deck like PowerPoint? You can use Canva. Let's take a look at Canva here. So I'm going to go into Canva and choose Create a Design and type in the prompt report. And you'll see we'll get a variety of templates that we can choose from. So a template is a pre-laid out design that basically will allow you to customize with your own material. And we've got, pre-formatted headings and images. Even the text is actually there. So it kind of prompts you at how you're going to organize it and customize it. So another thing is the idea of first person, second person, third person, how you write it. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say we're doing a focus group, and I may say something like, researchers first need to determine the participants of the group. This is written in the third person. I'm talking about researchers. I don't really know who they are, right? So it's more of a formal, objective tone here. I could speak in the second person where I'm speaking about someone else. You need to determine the participants of your focus group. Or I could become even more informal and say, I need to determine the participants of my focus group. And this is speaking in the first person. In a resume or like a cover letter, the idea is to speak about yourself in the first person. Don't say, Michael Cokkinos got an award. Say, I got an award. So considering the topic length, audience, venue, you're going to choose from different kind of vehicles. One of the favorite vehicles is Adobe's portable document format. It's great because it's pretty much free and compatible. You can knock anything down to a PDF and it preserves the graphics and the text elements. The other way to go would be a slide deck from Keynote to PowerPoint to Canva to Prezi. Again, what you're comfortable with, what you think will work well for your audience. And then the idea of presenting data. So we have to talk a little bit about things like infographics and various types of charts and tables. The thing about charts is to keep them very simple. You have the basic idea of comparison. So this works really well with a bar or column chart where you can see us against them, 1 month after another month, whatever. The other type of chart is a pie chart. So a pie chart is always going to be based on 100%. Here's how we spent all our resources. Here's our budget for the month, how we're going to divide it up. It's always based on 100%. And then you have a line chart or a trend chart. So this is something that tracks data over time. So you might see a stock go up or down, or something like temperature. You can monitor it every hour and see how it changes during the day. So you always want to think about what you're trying to say with your data first, and then choose the right type of chart and keep it simple. So effective report headings can really guide the viewer's attention in comprehending the organization of the report. You can have those generic functional headings like executive summary, introduction, findings, action, whatever. Or you can do it a little bit more descriptively and have talking headings. This is a better strategy, I think, to have, this idea of really focusing on what your report is about. So you might want to actually write the paragraph first and then pull out something that would be like kind of a headline heading. There's a famous adage in advertising that is problem solution, right? You present the problem to your consumer and then you give them the solution. You can use a similar strategy when you're creating a report. You might want to think about a couple of questions like there are problems about. So for instance, in AMC, we feel that students need to learn more video. And you may say something like, should we bring video into lower division? Because normally we only had video in upper division. So if we do bring video into lower division, what classes should we bring it in? What data do we need to justify that video is a skill that our students need? Is there going to be a budget for equipment for these lower division classes? And will they then serve as prerequisites for the upper division? So these series of questions can really help you kind of flesh out the problem and give some structure to your report. So reports require research, and oftentimes you are dealing with data. Where are you getting that data from? You might be getting what we call primary data. So primary data is firsthand experience and observation. You might do things like focus groups, you might do surveys, you might do observations. The nice thing about this is it's very customized. So if I start interviewing AMC students about their video experience, I'm getting firsthand knowledge about what's going on. The other type of data is secondary data. So this might be, looking at a database of universities that have video production classes. Secondary data is data that comes from somewhere else. I may have to pay for it. The nice thing about secondary data is that it's available already. It's already been, organized. I just have to kind of find it and research it. I may have to, buy it, but the idea is I get it right away. Primary data can be expensive because I've got to actually do these interviews and focus groups and organize the data. So there's a trade-off between the two. One is very customized, can be expensive and time consuming. The other one you have to pay for, but you're getting data that is more generic and, it might be more available and also more extensive. So a typical report might be a progress report or what might be called an interim report. It might be internal or external. Internal, you're talking to your staff about something, or external, you might be talking to your customers or your stakeholders, your stockholders. So a good structure for something like this is to have an opening where you specify the overall purpose and the nature of the project. Give some background information if the audience requires filling in. Then describe the work completed so far. Explain the current work in progress, including any budgetary things, personnel, activities, locations, methods. Describe the current potential problems and any possible remedies. And then in closing, think about your future activities. Provide an expected completion date is also good, and any other kind of action items. Another typical report format might be a summary. So if I say something like, tell me about your favorite book. You're not going to read me your favorite book, right? You're going to kind of summarize it down so that you'll be able to tell me in an elevator pitch, kind of few sentences, why you like the book or your favorite movie. So an executive summary is the idea of really kind of making it very concise for what management needs to know about the report. So how's your blog doing? You might want to take a look at how many hits you got in the past week. And the idea is you can analyze that, right? And then make a inference about, well, maybe I need to write a shorter blog or include more illustrations, or, how can I get my numbers up? So an analytical report involves collecting the data, evaluating it, drawing conclusions, and then making some kind of recommendations for improvement. Well, I hope you enjoyed the module on business reports as much as I enjoyed creating it for you. Keep in mind all the things we've been learning about business communication in past modules, the idea of making sure you know your objective, what you're trying to say in the report, you know who's reading the report, and analyze that target audience, write it for them. You're concise, you're grammatically and spelling correct. You don't want to kill your credibility with any kind of typos in there. And remember, every report is going to be unique, and this stuff comes with experience. So the more you write, the better communicator you're going to become. Enjoy.